Unrest in the Sahel, how revolts in Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso affect Western interests. The Sahel region of Africa has long been a hotbed of instability, characterized by political turmoil, ethnic tensions, and socioeconomic challenges. Recent revolts and uprisings in countries such as Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso have further exacerbated the situation, posing significant challenges to both regional stability and Western interests in the area. This essay explores the latest developments in these nations and examines their impact on Western interests. Mali, continuing instability. Mali has been grappling with political instability and armed conflict since the 2012 coup d'état. Despite international efforts to stabilize the country, including the presence of UN peacekeeping forces, Mali continues to face challenges from various armed groups, including ethnic militias and Islamist extremists. Recent protests against the government's handling of security issues and perceived corruption have further fueled tensions, leading to fears of renewed violence and instability. Niger, rising unrest. Niger has also experienced growing unrest in recent years, fueled by political discontent, ethnic tensions, and economic grievances. The government's response to protests and dissent has been criticized for its heavy-handedness, further exacerbating tensions and eroding public trust in the authorities. The ongoing insurgency by groups affiliated with Boko Haram and the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, ISGS, adds another layer of complexity to Niger's security challenges. Chad, turmoil and transition. Chad witnessed a period of turmoil and transition following the death of President Idriss Déby in 2021. The sudden power vacuum created by Déby's death sparked fears of a power struggle and potential instability in the country. Although a transitional government led by Déby's son, Mahamat Déby, was established, concerns remain about the country's political future and its ability to address long-standing grievances, including marginalization and human rights abuses. Burkina Faso, escalating violence. Burkina Faso has been grappling with a surge in violence and insecurity, particularly in the northern and eastern regions of the country. The proliferation of armed groups, including jihadist organizations linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, has fueled a humanitarian crisis and displaced thousands of civilians. Despite government efforts to combat extremism and improve security, the situation remains precarious, with frequent attacks targeting civilians and security forces. Impact on Western interests. The ongoing unrest in Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso has significant implications for Western interests in the region. These countries are strategically located in the Sahel, a region of growing importance for counterterrorism efforts, migration control, and resource exploitation. Instability and insecurity not only threaten the lives and livelihoods of local populations but also hinder Western efforts to promote stability, development, and investment in the region. Challenges to counterterrorism efforts. The presence of armed groups and jihadist organizations in the Sahel poses a direct threat to Western security interests, including the risk of terrorism and transnational crime. Instability and weak governance provide fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root and spread, undermining efforts to combat terrorism and extremism in the region. Humanitarian crisis and migration. The humanitarian consequences of the unrest in Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso are also of concern to Western governments and international organizations. The displacement of populations, food insecurity, and lack of access to basic services exacerbate human suffering and fuel migration flows, placing additional strain on neighboring countries and the broader international community. Resource exploitation and economic interests. The Sahel region is endowed with rich natural resources, including minerals, oil, and gas, which are of interest to Western corporations and governments. However, the insecurity and instability prevalent in countries like Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso hamper efforts to exploit these resources effectively and sustainably, thereby impacting Western economic interests in the region. In conclusion, the recent revolts and uprisings in Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso have far-reaching implications for regional stability and Western interests in the Sahel. The ongoing insecurity and instability not only threaten the lives and livelihoods of local populations but also pose significant challenges to Western efforts to promote security, development, and economic prosperity in the region. Addressing the root causes of the unrest, including governance failures, socioeconomic inequalities, and ethnic tensions, is essential to fostering long-term stability and mitigating the impact on Western interests.